Good evening. This is Jutoshen Joko, Chair of the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members are and persons anticipated on the agenda and are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Deb Gesualdo.
Present.
Donna Hopkins.
Present.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Present.
David McKenna.
Affirmative.
Bob Gamer. Charles Desmond.
Present.
Paul Polak. I can see Paul. I'm not sure if he can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. I can hear you now, Paul. Thank you.
Present.
Kristen Perkins.
Present.
Amanda Sims.
Present.
Bill Graham. I can see Bill is on. Bill, can you hear me? Okay. Staff and liaison. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Eileen Page.
Here.
Eric Crane.
Here.
I know Lieutenant Rob Sullivan is going to join us shortly, as well as David Mills. Douglas Vaughn. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative when I call your name. Ben Thomas. Keja Johnson. Paul Goodwin. Oh, what was that, Keja?
Hi, this is Kasia. I'm sorry. I'm trying to log on.
Perfect. Thank you. Paul Goodwin.
Present.
This open meeting of the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gathering, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda material for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comments. For this meeting, the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is convening remotely via the WebEx app, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting material that have been provided members of this body are available on the town website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless noted otherwise. We are now turning on to the second item on the agenda, but before I do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comments, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through myself, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. The second item on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes of April 22nd, 2021. Those were attached with the agenda. I'll need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I have a couple of questions about the minutes before we proceed, if possible.
sure. Sure.
It's Paul Pollack.
Yes, Paul.
All right, third paragraph down, on those present, we had Douglas Voorhees. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name.
Douglas Voigt.
Yeah, we have him as present, and then right below that, in the next paragraph, we have him as not present. So you might want to just, I'm not sure whether he was here or not. I can't remember.
He was there. I apologize, Paul. I'll take care of that. Thank
He
you.
was here? Okay. All right, the next question I have may be too late for me to bring it up, but I just noticed it in the Juneteenth proclamation. Have we submitted that proclamation to the select board at this point?
We actually have a section on the agenda on Juneteenth, and
Right.
we will be discussing that. So this is just, we just want to see, does this minute reflects what happened last month? And then during the Juneteenth proclamation discussions, we would talk about where it stands at the moment.
Well, my concerns are very minor. They're nothing to do with the proclamation itself. They're just grammatical. So I just wanted to bring them up so that when we do proceed and present it to the select board, a couple of minor things that maybe we want to just look at and change, just clarify, but not, the whole extent of the Juneteenth proclamation, I totally agree with, and I voted for it. So when we get to that point in the meeting, we can just discuss that. Okay, I'll move on.
Okay, and that will be item 6. Perfect.
I move the minutes be accepted then.
And that was Paul moving the minutes. Any second? Jorge Sanchez Salazar, second. Any further discussions? So, Eileen, as far as Pastor Douglas Voigt, I think he was actually not present at the last meeting.
That's what I thought too, to be
Was he okay? That's my mistake. I will take care of that in the morning. So what we actually would do is move with the correction.
Yes, yes. Okay. And second by Jorge Sanchez. Any further discussions? Okay, I'll go down the list of members to vote to approve the minutes of April 22nd, 2021 with the change on the attendance. Deb Gesualdo,
Approve.
Donna Hopkins,
Approved.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar,
Approve.
David McKenna,
approve,
Dr. Charlie Desmond,
Approved.
Paul Pollack,
Approved.
Kristen Perkins,
Approved.
Amanda Sims.
I actually wasn't present, so I don't think that I can approve.
Thank you. Bill Graham,
Approve.
and I am approved. So the minutes of April 22nd, 2021 are approved. I'll now move on to the third item on the agenda. We had discussed before, and so we are privileged and fortunate today to have with us Keja Johnson and Paul Goodwin from the Beverly Human Rights Committee. So we've invited them to come and share with us some of the things that they're doing up there, and looking forward to a kind of collaboration of our two committees working together for the greater goods of the North Shore. So Ms. Johnson, you can take it away. I think you're still muted.
She's not muted. There we go. Keisha, we can see you waving and it doesn't look like you're muted, but we can't hear you. Oh no. Oh no.
I think she's still muted.
So she's not actually on mute. There's something wrong with, I think, the microphone, because we can see her and it doesn't say she's muted, but and it seems like she can hear us.
Yes. See.
Oh, okay. Keisha, the other thing you can do is call in from your cell phone if you use that number in the email, and then if you speak on, you can talk on the cell phone and have your camera on, and it should work as a microphone for you. Although now I'm hearing some echoing, so I'm wondering if she's on.
Yes. Well.
Well, I think she's gonna do the phone thing.
There we go.
Hello?
Yes.
There we go. We gotcha.
Okay, I can hear you guys. I'm not sure. I'm sorry that you can't hear me.
We can hear you now.
Okay, so it's so great to be here. Eileen Page came to our last meeting. My name is Keisha Johnson. I'm the chair of the Beverly Human Rights Committee. And I'm gonna try and turn this off because I can hear myself echoing. Okay, that's fine. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we've been up to as a committee, and I'm so happy to be here, and I'm hoping that we can do more together. We're neighbors, we're right next door, so I know that me and Eileen were talking about doing some work together surrounding Pride, which I'm super excited about, especially with the students being the leaders on this. The youth is so important. So just to go through a little bit of the structure. So when Eileen came to our meeting, she talked a little bit about how there are liaisons and sort of point people within your committee, and so our committee is a little different. We're mayor appointed, and so on our committee, we have the chief of police. Also, we have a school representative, Gabrielle, and so we're looking towards going into the direction of having liaisons. I think that that's incredible, and I think that it would be more productive. And so we've been partnering with the Beverly Public Library just to talk about contributions of immigrants to our community. We did have our campaign of lawn signs where we did Unity is our community. You guys might have seen those signs around. We've supported youth and the community members for the Black Lives Matter marches and events. We've worked together with the mayor's office to coordinate training. We've also worked with Community Change Inc. surrounding anti-racism. We've collaborated with the City Council, School Committee, Beverly Public Schools, and city leaders on different cross-sectoral efforts to address equity issues. Dr. Esther Nagoso has pushed for the resolution on racism as a human rights issue. And so that has passed, which was wonderful. We sponsored a virtual brass concert to honor Beverly members and those particularly that are isolated in our city. We've met and partnered with the Beverly High School students and support their efforts. They've actually launched their own Beverly High School Human Rights Club, which is amazing. We have issued statements with specific calls to action, whether it be anti-Semitic or anti-Black symbolism in our city or anti-Asian racism. And together with the Chief and Sergeant Costa, we've worked to develop a civil rights task force to improve data so that we're able to track instances of hate crimes and just to ensure that members of our community feel supported. Recently, we partnered with the Massachusetts Human Rights Commission level just to talk about ideas and information and be sure that we're not missing anything. We held an event that focused on the older residents in Beverly. We've actually had several conversations now just to be sure that we're connecting also with the older residents here. We did have a virtual Mlk Day event, and this year we thought that it would be really important that it was student and Black led, and it turned out to be amazing. It was wonderful watching the kids. We co-sponsored film festival. We've worked with the Alphabet Rockers. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of the Alphabet Rockers, but it's a programming for kids and parents. They do a lot of education surrounding equity and justice and inclusion. We've also partnered with the city in launching our racial equity task force. In that task force, we have different subcommittees that we are working together with to be sure that there is social justice and human rights for all. We've also continued to advocate for the safe communities and driving families forward bills to uphold immigrant rights. As I mentioned before, we have had conversations surrounding Pride. We will be raising our flag on June 1st at 4 p.m. We're still in communication with Eileen, still working out the details of how we can do something collaborative, but I look forward to seeing that as well. We've also hosted a Black Santa forums on topics of interest in our community. We've had conversations surrounding Indigenous People Day, and we've included the Massachusetts level of Indigenous Peoples Day. This year, we are launching our Juneteenth event for the first year, and so we're excited about that. More recently, we're looking for more autonomy within our Human Rights Committee. We'd like to work, Eileen, I think you heard a little bit of this conversation in our last meeting. We do think that the process in terms of reappointing and appointing should really involve our Human Rights Committee. Right now, it's just mayor appointed. So we look forward to working together with our new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director, as well as whoever the chair may be, so that it's a cohesive process. So yeah, that's just some of the stuff that we've been up to. Paul Goodwin is here. He's also the vice chair.
Yeah, so I came in about a year ago, and I'm in the unique perspective of I have not met a lot of our co-committee members in person yet. So I've seen them all virtually, and a few of us have been able to get together outside. But it's been a wonderful group. I come by way of the school committee, and we were introduced to the Beverly Human Rights Committee in my role there. And so in coming to the committee, my goal is to just try to bring more awareness to the community that the committee is there to support everybody and how people can access us and how they can seek assistance from us. So I come from a technical background, so we've been trying to ramp up our website, social media. Like Kej was saying, the virtual Mlk Day event was fantastic. We involved all of the schools and got snippets from all of them. And we had a wonderful person piece everything together with the superintendent and all facets of the city. So if you get a chance and you want to go out to BevCam's website, it's out there and you can watch it. It's about 37 minutes long, but it was nice to see the community come together for that. So, but thank you all for inviting us tonight, and I'm very looking forward to the collaboration between our two committees in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Keja. Thank you for the quick update. This is great, and I think that collaboration is going to be not only necessary, but very useful and important for our two communities and for the North Shore, as I said earlier. I don't know if I'll go down the list of members. If anyone has any questions or comments, let me go here. Deb Gesualdo.
Yes, thank you, Dee. Thank you both for being here with us tonight. This is really helpful to hear from you both, and I'm excited for our committees to start working together. I'm a public school educator, so this is also helpful for me in my work outside of Danvers. I think my question for both of you is, have you found many opportunities to think about how your committee can interact in kind of an organic way with the community, sort of in one-to-one or small group conversations to start building relationships within the community, between not just the committee, but between people in the community, to start really building that welcoming environment for people?
Yeah, so I think that goes to, at least from my standpoint, just trying to reach out through the various channels that people are familiar with, whether we have a big community through our Facebook page, so a lot of people will reach out directly there. We have a contact us from our website. Some people will reach out to us there. I know Keja, to her credit, monitors our email account and gets a bunch of emails that way. So for me, we're trying to figure out what the best way to have that one point of contact and make that public for people so they know the best channel to get to us. And so it doesn't overwhelm someone like Keja having to monitor all those emails all the time. And so we know where we should be checking and can be responsive to people. like we said, we had one of our members got a position with the city, Abu, and so he's working directly with the city, with the mayor. So he has the distinct capability of being tied in with City Hall. And so he's been in that role for only a few months now. So we're looking forward to try to figure out how we can bridge that gap and use his experience in being on the committee, but also having his ties into the city and government directly, and how we can leverage that into the community as well. And we also have a member who is part of, she's a principal at one of our grammar schools. So she kind of is the liaison for that piece of the community. So, you know, we're trying to get a more diverse committee. We have 3 open seats right now. There's a couple gaps that we feel we have, so that we're trying to fill those so that we can reach an even bigger population. So it's kind of a work in progress. So we'd be interested to see what you all are doing as well, because I think I honestly didn't know we had a human rights committee until I got on the school committee, which is horrible. And so that's one of my goals, is to just try to make us known out in the community, so at least people know we're here if they need us.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you. Donna Hopkins, any questions or comments?
No, thank you so much for being here. I don't really have any questions at this time, but I'm really anxious to start looking more into what you're doing and hopefully working together in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
I have no questions either. But, thank you for being here.
Thank you. David McKenna.
I'd like to thank you both for being here. I think you raised a significant issue that nobody knows we're out there. So I think there's part of the education process we need to work on. And I think that the collaboration between our 2 groups can be a great benefit to both groups and to the communities in general. And you know, I welcome you, and I hope we can work together and get some programs going. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Dr. Charlie Desmond. Dr. Charlie, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I've got 2 dogs and I mute myself so that they don't bark and try to get in the conversation. I just wanted to say, you know, in order for us to be vectors of change, we have to do exactly what you all are doing right now. And I just want to encourage you to keep doing the work that you're doing. There are, you know, harmful hierarchies of oppression that are affecting large segments of our population, and I'm glad that you all are taking leadership positions and speaking up and organizing and engaging with people to do something about it. Congratulations and keep up your good work.
Thank you, Dr. Charlie. Paul Polak.
I think we're having connection issues with Paul.
Okay, I will get back to Paul. Kristen Perkins.
I just want to echo what everyone said about, you know, thank you for joining today. I did have one question. So I know that the way city council works in Beverly is different than how our local government works in Danvers. I'm a recently elected town meeting member, and I know several others here in Danvers are town meeting members. And I'm really curious what you guys are doing with the city council, because you know, in my new role, I'd like to find a way to use that to involve the community in innovative ways. And I'd like to understand maybe a little more how you guys are using those roles to do that. Maybe you don't know fully now, but maybe for further discussion, if not.
Thank you all so much, and thank you, Kristen, for that question. I was trying to get my headset to work, but that's not working either, so I think we're just on the phone and on the computer. So our city council we work very close with. We have our city councilors who vote, and Councilor Rand is one of the city councilors who actually put forth the initiative to create the Human Rights Committee. And so we really work closely with her and all of the city councilors, but to really focus on where we are, where she wanted us to be, what her vision was when she created the HRC, and where we want to be. Because along the line, things have changed, times have changed, and we're in a different place now. And so it's very important that we focus on the radical change that's coming our way. It's coming and it's here, and it's time for us to embrace it. And working with the city councilors, it's very critical that we're in great communication with them, as they're the ones that ultimately vote and can pass ordinances and charters and policies and things of that nature. So, and just a little bit to what Deb was saying, it is very challenging sometimes, I think, to engage the community. But I do think that times like right now, what we're doing right now, I think that this is what we need more of. And also our youth, you know, they are our future, and they know how to Snap and Twitter and all these things that we, you know, I would still love to write a letter, right? But they know how to get everything out in just a snap. And the Beverly High School Human Rights Club, they've been amazing in terms of their input and creativity, and they're just amazing. And so I think that that's also where we need to do more educating and getting the word out there, is with our youth as well. And Paul, of course, is our wonderful IT person who redid our whole website and got everything up and running. And now we can click things and we have links that work. And so thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you, Keja. Amanda Sims.
Yes, I am so excited to collaborate with you guys. This is super exciting. One of the things I was going to comment on that you just actually brought up was the collaboration with the young people, because I really feel like that is a big area that we can do so much more. And I don't know if you spoke specifically as to how you collaborate with them, if they regularly join meetings or things of that nature, but I definitely feel like, you know, I want to hear more, and I'm hoping that we can do more with that too here in Danvers. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Amanda. Bill Graham.
I'm having connection problems, so no comment.
Thank you. Is Paul Pollack back?
Can you hear me, D?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, well, I was impressed by the variety of programs that were listed, and some of them, obviously, we do the same things too. Obviously, there's a little overlap, but I think we should maintain a dialogue between the two committees. I think I would encourage that. Make sure that maybe we attend one of their meetings, they attend one of our meetings. That might be possible only once we get back in-person meetings. I think that would be a little easier for all of us. And then the other thing I thought about, there may be some programs that we're not able to take on ourselves, or we're not ready to take on ourselves. It doesn't have to be a lot of programs, it could be just one. Similarly, for Beverly, they might have a program or two that they're thinking about taking on, but yet haven't. And maybe between the two groups, Beverly, and Danvers, we could combine to work on a specific program. And I'm only going to use this as an example because I don't think it would be relevant at this point. But we all have an MLK event, so we're probably going to stay separate on those type of events. But if there was something like, I don't know, Juneteenth is an example right now where we're trying to figure out how to do something. I'm not sure where you folks are on it, but if there was something like that that we both wanted to do and yet we haven't been able to get to it yet, we might be able to combine both committees and maybe alternate from year to year on a particular project like that. That's basically what thought passed through my mind as I was listening, because we just can't do everything, and maybe we don't react fast enough at times. I know that I think as an example, you had a support rally for the Asian community when it happened. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I think it happened pretty much within a week. We weren't able to react. We're not able to react that fast. So those are the type of things I think the two committees can get together on and help each other out and maybe come up with a couple of ideas that we share together over the years and maybe just alternate from one year to the next, whether it be held in our community or your community. But thank you very much for coming. I appreciate the information.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you. Eric, any
Thank you so much,
comments?
Paul. Those are great ideas. I think that ideally, I would like to at least have a meeting with both of our committees. I would say twice a year. That would be my idea, is us all come together and just sort of, or even just a few of us, or have those smaller conversations just to think about what we can plan together, so that it's not such a short notice and we can have enough time to plan ahead.
Definitely. Okay. Eric, any question or comments? I know Eric is the school committee liaison, not a voting member, but he might.
No, I think it's great to see that Beverly High School has a we have what we call the diversity club at Danvers High School as well, and we've got some great student leaders who have done terrific things this year. But if there are opportunities for those clubs to collaborate, perhaps I'll certainly bring this back to the superintendent so she's aware of the Beverly Club as well. And maybe there are opportunities for those young people to get together as groups as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kada, and thank you, Paul, for coming and sharing all those great ideas with us. We're looking forward to that collaboration going forward. Oh, I'm repeating myself here. But thank you very much. You are free to stay on. We tend to go a little long, so just as a cautionary thing. But if you have to exit, thank you again for coming. And we're looking forward to the collaboration. Thank you.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you so much for having us here today. This is just incredible. And I just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work that you do. I know it isn't easy, and I know sometimes that it takes a lot more time than what we would have thought, and it takes a lot more courage than maybe what we thought we had. But it's important, and we're here, and it's our time to do it.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It was nice meeting you all.
Thank you very much, Paul. I will now move on to the fourth item on the agenda, which is the scholarship subcommittee update. Eileen, I know the scholarship subcommittee met a few times. Can you give us an update?
Sure, yeah. So we did meet. We reviewed all of the applicants, and we ended up selecting 4 students to receive scholarships. We are invited to present at a upcoming award ceremony. I believe it's on June 15th. I'd have to double check the date. They are doing something just for, I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of difficulty. I'm going to mute you. So they are doing an event in person for the students who are receiving scholarships. We are invited to attend and read a statement, which we did put a statement together explaining why each student received a scholarship and some of the work they've done and what really stood out to them, stood out about them to us. So we've put that together. We can also just submit a statement to have someone read when they give out the awards. But I think it would be nice if someone, you know, wanted to volunteer to go and present. If there's one or two people that would like to do that, we are welcome to do it. And then what we will plan to do for our June meeting is have the 4 students who were selected will be invited to join our meeting, introduce themselves, you know, talk about what their plans are for the future. There's some real, I don't want to give their names out yet because it hasn't been announced. So, but there's some really remarkable students. They're doing great things and they're going to do even better things. So I'd love to have them on at the June meeting if they're available to talk to us and for us to meet them face to face. So I don't know if there is somebody in this group, 1 or 2 people that would like to go and present. I'm not sure. I think historically maybe Donna's done it. I might be wrong in that, but I know last year it was fully virtual.
Yes, I have done it a couple of times too. I think it's nice to send a statement, but it's always better if we can have 1 or 2 people be there in person to represent the committee. So if I can just get a raise of hands of people who might do that, that would be great. If not, I'll choose a volunteer. I'm just kidding.
And it doesn't have to just be, you know, 1 or 2 people. If 3 or 4 want to go too, I think that's fine. Whoever wants to join in.
What's the date again?
I believe it's June 15th, but let me double check that to be sure.
I think it's the 11th.
It's
Oh,
the day
okay.
before graduation, actually. I think, scholarship night, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it's the, let me just check my
it's
school
11th.
committee projector. I can probably tell you. Let's see.
Is it the 8th or the 11th?
I'm sorry.
It's the 11th. It's
It is
Friday, June 11th, yes.
Yeah, I think graduation is the next day, I believe.
Yes.
You know, we do it every year as part of the school committee, and it's really no heavy lifting. It's always nice to have people show up. You only, you know, speak for just like make a statement for maybe a minute about what the club is about, what we do, what this organization does, and then announce the students' names and shake hands, give them their scholarships, and have a photo taken. It's really easy. So I would encourage someone from the committee to do it. Or some.
We're probably gonna do the elbow bump. Okay. If no, well, if I'm not seeing any hand, I will do it, Eileen.
Yeah, I'm happy to attend with you as well, Dee, if you want a second person.
If someone else between now and then can free themselves and think they want to join us, please let myself or Eileen know. But I will be able to attend.
We were going to go out for ice cream after, so your loss. And you missed out on the ice cream.
Perfect. So now I understand from the subcommittee that there were 4 scholarships recipients. One of them was $1,000. The second one was $500, and then $250 and $250. So I will now I will need a motion to adjourn the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee so that the friends of the Danvers Committee for Diversity can convene and vote on those funds. Yes, Eileen.
While we are, so just for those who are new, we're adjourning, but we're not going anywhere. The friends handle the financials. they're going to hop on, just talk for a minute. Then we'll go back to our Human Rights Committee meeting. So it's a meeting within a meeting. We don't hang out, we don't do anything. But while we are in the Friends meeting, I have a financial proposal as well that will go for the Pride Subcommittee meeting. So if we could do that at the same time, that would be great.
Just a point of order. Wouldn't it be a recess and not an adjournment? Because an adjournment actually ends the meeting. So wouldn't it be a recess?
That is correct. That is correct. A recess. Thank you. But I understand actually the recess will happen after the Pride Subcommittee. Is that correct, Eileen?
If that's okay, that if we want to do it that way, it might be just easier. I have a spreadsheet when we talk about the Pride Subcommittee, that I'm gonna put up so we can talk about the money we're requesting.
Okay.
So if that's easier, we can do it that way as well. I don't know what the group wants to do.
That's fine. We can do that. So we'll move on to the 5th item on the agenda, which is the Pride Subcommittee update. And then after that, we will take a short 1-2 minute recess and then get back to the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee meeting. Deb, Gesualdo, I know you guys met several times talking about the Pride flag. Can you give us an update, please?
Sure. Thank you, Dee. Yes, the Pride Subcommittee has met a couple of times. We met on May 6th and May 13th, and our next subcommittee meeting is on May 27th. The date for the flag raising ceremony is June 3rd at 5 p.m. And it was raised in front of Town Hall. We're still working a bit on finalizing the lineup of speakers. Obviously, Dee, you'll be speaking on behalf of our committee, and Town Manager Steve Bartha will speaking on behalf of the town of Danvers. We will be having a student speaking, as well as potentially a couple of other people speaking briefly. And we're working on identifying all the different town buildings that will be flying the Pride flag. And we've talked about changing over from the 6-stripe traditional rainbow Pride flag to the Progress Pride flag, which has the traditional 6-stripe rainbow flag, as well as the chevron, which has black, brown, light blue, pink, and white stripes, and is meant to bring to the forefront marginalized communities, people of color, trans individuals, and people living with HIV/AIDS, and those who have lost their lives to HIV and or AIDS. And the arrow on the chevron points to the right, showing forward movement, and is situated to the left side of the flag, showing that progress still needs to be made. And you'll see around where Pride flags are being flown, you'll see this more and more frequently now than the traditional 6 color striped flag. And we plan on launching a social media campaign, obviously, to encourage people to fly the Pride flag at their homes and in front of their businesses. And additionally, those of us on the Pride Subcommittee have committed to reaching out and having one-to-one conversations with people in the community about flying the Pride flag, as a means by which to help have more visual symbols of Danvers being actually more welcoming to members of the LGBTQIA+ community. And we also see this as a way of beginning the groundwork for the relational organizing that's needed to create a more welcoming, equitable, and inclusive community. And it's also helpful in working on shifting from sort of doing events only work to a combination of events and that community and relational organizing work to draw more people into conversations and normalizing talking about things in a healthy way, working together and supporting people in our community who've been traditionally marginalized and disenfranchised. On June 5th, the Pride Subcommittee is planning on being out in the square, handing out smaller Pride flags and stickers, as well as hopefully selling tickets for people to win a Pride prize pack, which is really difficult to say quickly. And many thanks to Eileen for coming up with this really great idea. We plan on trying to connect with local businesses to get the word out about the fact that we'll be in the square and that people can come there to connect with us and to buy tickets to try and win the Pride prize. Heck, really say that 3 times fast. And you know, sort of our goals as a subcommittee are to try to think about beginning to move beyond Pride being just a flag raising ceremony. So that's part of why we're including this year being out in the square, using the distribution of flags and being out there as opportunities to engage with the community and begin that relational organizing work, which we think will open the doors to further work with the broader community, as well as potentially draw people in who might want to help with either events or, you know, helping engage other people in conversations, and to start thinking about how everything we do can have different components to it to help build those really crucial and critical relationships in the community. And I know, Eileen, you are going to talk about the financial piece. I'm going to leave that up to you.
Yeah, so Deb, you have put this so eloquently. I hate to follow you after. I feel like my mind is spinning from my work day and I'm like, oh, I hate to follow that. Yeah, so like Deb said, you know, we hope to make Pride, you know, a whole big celebration. You know, maybe next year that looks like doing a you know, Danvers parade or something like that. But this year, you know, even though the restrictions will be lifted by then, we still want to keep things small and safe. So we came up with this idea of a booth just downtown. I'm going to reach out to Om at Kathmandu to see if we could set up outside his shop, because he has always been such a fantastic supporter of our group. And we're thinking, like, I was thinking like maybe 9 to noon, you know, if a couple people wanted to stop by. I'll be there the whole time, but, you know, just so there's always some coverage. But one of the things we thought is, how do we get people to stop? And so I talked to my sister, who is a Gen Zer, and she said dogs and stickers. So everybody who has a dog needs to bring their dog, and they will be in Pride bandanas. Donna has about a dozen dogs she can loan us, I know. And we we have, I'm going to share my spreadsheet here. Let me just find it. We put together some swag ideas that I found on Amazon that are not terribly expensive. That we could hand out some stickers. We could hand out the miniature flags, and I'm talking like a 3x5 inch flag. Or actually, no, I'm talking about an 8x5 inch flag. So they're just like the small ones that you would see at a parade. One of the ways we talked about was getting, in talking about getting flags out into the community. You know, Deb brought up she lives in a complex that has a homeowners association. She's not allowed to put up a flag. I rent part of my house, so there's another family in the house, and so I try not to put out anything that, you know, like kind of just they wouldn't like, or not to say that they wouldn't like it, but, you know, we just don't put out a lot of decor in the front of our house. So we thought maybe the smaller flags are a great way to get them out. People can put them on their desk, in their window. You know, some people don't have a flagpole, so Kristen had talked about lining them along her yard. So lots of, you know, just another way to get the flags out there. The stickers are these vinyl stickers. They come in a pack of 500 for $17. So pretty cost effective. And we can pass them out. People can put them on water bottles, on their car, on their sibling, whatever they want to do with the sticker. So I'm going to share a spreadsheet that I have that just kind of shows it all. And so I'll start by talking about, I'll just go through, oh, it's going to open. Let's see. I feel like this isn't opening. Hang on 1 second, sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so can everybody see this all right? I can't hear anyone. Hopefully you can. Okay, I see a thumbs up. Okay. So we're looking in terms of the free stuff we're handing out. We're looking at about $50, $51.68 with tax. So we. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong tab. For the free stuff, we're looking, and I can certainly cut this back if anybody's not comfortable with this number. But we are looking at $156.65. What that would be is ordering the. Let me see if I can get this to a better size. Ordering 12 progressive pride flags. They are 3 feet by 5 feet. They would fly off of each of the town buildings. So we have the elementary schools, the middle school, the high school, police, 2 fire stations, Atlantic Ambulance, and town hall. The other one that I actually had a call from Gigi Gill this afternoon, and they had recommended also purchasing one to fly off of the library. And I think David Mills had actually had one he was willing to donate to us. So 12 should cover it if we have 13, if we need 13 total. So the flags are $6.99 each, but when you're ordering 12, it comes out to $84.32. I calculated all of this based off of Amazon Prime because free 2-day shipping. So that's why there's no shipping cost figured in there. If we wanted to pass out the smaller gay pride flags, we could do a 50 pack for $10.55. And I recommended ordering 2 of those so that we have 100 of the smaller flags to hand out, which comes to just over $22. Let me pull up the stickers. So this is what the sticker would look like. It's the Progress Pride sticker. A lot of P words. They're 1¼ inch by 2 inches, so not too big. But they are made of vinyl and they are water resistant, so you can put it on your car with no problems. No, where's my?
We can't see what you're showing, Eileen.
There we go. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we see the spreadsheet.
Okay, I had to switch screens. There's also a transgender pride flag. They have a 250 pack of stickers for $14.99. And then this other sticker that just says "Love is Love." It's a rainbow sticker that are kind of pretty. That we could order 250 of them for $15. So I'm not saying we need to order all the stickers, and all that. I just wanted to give some options and see what the group thought. But I do think we should do the miniature flags to hand out for sure, and maybe some stickers. And then we had talked about the Pride Prize Pack, which for some reason I can say that, but not Progress Pride Flag. I just kind of scoured Amazon and the internet a bit to find some things that might be interesting to put in there. There's a flag that says "Born This Way" in rainbow across it, which I thought was kind of cool, to put in there. I thought that would look awesome in a dorm room. It's only $8. And then one of the lawn signs, the "Unity is our community" lawn signs, we thought we could put one of those in for someone to put on their lawn. I do hand embroidery as a hobby, and I'd love to design some pride, something kind of modern pride for somebody to display. The rapper I think I'm saying this right, Lil Nas X. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not saying it right.
Lil Nas.
Okay. See, so he is a country star rapper. He kind of transcends all genres, but he is gay, and he wrote a children's book that goes through the alphabet, and it's called C is for Country. And I was looking through it. I just thought it was the most fun book. It's a great way to support an author of the LGBTQ community. I'm sure there's more books, but it just cracked me up because it's all illustrations of him doing very childlike things. I thought it was adorable. And then as I'm kind of wandering TJ Maxx and Marshalls, I'm noticing there's a lot of really cool pride themed products out there right now. There's mugs, there's dish towels, there's notebooks and t-shirts and everything. So I put a request in here for just $30 to buy other fun things we could put in the basket. So the basket itself would come to about $51.68. So One of the things that I had mentioned to Dee, and I had it under new business tonight, is we did receive an anonymous donation this week of $100. I don't know where it came from. I just received a check to my office. So if anyone donated that and is watching, thank you very much for that. So we do have that money coming in. The other thing we had talked a bit about on our subcommittee meetings was that we didn't do a lot of any events this year, really. Everything we did was virtual. We have a little bit of money to spend on events. The only real money we spent was on the scholarships. So we decided we would ask the committee for some money, or ask the friends for some money to put together these freebies in this gift basket. And that's my proposal, and I'm sticking to it.
So where would you like the check sent for the balance of it? And what will the total be?
Okay, let me take a look here. So 156.65 if we stick to this directly. Hang on. 65 plus 51.6. $208.33 is what I'm getting. Let me run that one more time to make sure I didn't hit any weird numbers.
Thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Deb, and thank you very much to the subcommittee for your hard work. You did put a lot of work in this. I will quickly go down the list of members for any comments or questions. Deb already spoke. Donna?
I don't have any questions. Are we just commenting on what we heard, or
Comments or questions?
good job? No, I was on the committee, so I kind of knew it all, so I don't really have any questions.
Thank you. Jorge Sanchez Salazar?
Thank you. That looks awesome. I'm going to try to bring my dog down there if it's not too early. Oh, is it a work day? Is it like a work day? When is it going to be?
No, this would be Saturday, June 3rd. We'd be setting up in the square. Again, like a 9 to noon or something like that.
I will be there.
June 5th, I'm sorry. June 5th. Thank you, Kristen. Saturday, June 5th.
Okay, I will be there.
Thank you. David McKenna?
Oh, you're on mute, David.
All right, I think I'm unmuted now. Yes. I think it's great. Good job putting it together. Just let me know what the balance is in an email, and I'll drop a check off of the balance made out to the friends.
Thank you, David. Charles Desmond?
Very encouraging report, very exciting and progressive and forward-looking. Thanks for your great work. Let's get on with doing what we need to do to enact this activities.
Thank you. Paul Pollack? I think I just lost Paul again. Okay, I'll get back to
You got
Paul.
me now, Dee?
Yes.
I think we should just move on to the friends portion of the meeting and move the money.
Thank you.
The scholarship and what Eileen just presented.
Thank you. Kristen Perkins?
No comment. I was on it, and I'll be there on Sunday the 5th.
Amanda Sims?
I love it. I just had one quick question. Would we have any sort of other information at the booth about the committee if people were interested in that, or any kind of anything else other than the stickers and things like that?
Yes. So Deb is working on putting together these very kind of just fun little business cards that we can pass out. It has a QR code to our website. It says we meet the third Thursday of every month, 7 o'clock. Has our logo on it, that type of thing, just saying, here we are, watch us, get in touch. And largely, we're celebrating Pride, but we're also using free stuff to make people stop and talk to us. You know, it will, the conversation hopefully goes beyond Pride as well, to talk about this committee exists. We happen to be celebrating Pride this month, but here are the other great things we do too, and you know, here's how you can participate. We'll have like a tier list that I keep, so if people want to jot down their information, you know, right then, and we'll put them on the list, and we'll let you know when we need help. You know, we can do that.
Perfect.
Really, the goal is community outreach under the guise of free stuff.
Bill Graham. Okay, I think I lost Bill audio. Okay, not there. Okay, so I'll need a motion to recess the meeting of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee.
So moved.
Who made the motion? Dr.
Charles
Charlie?
Smith. Yes.
Second by Deb Gesualdo. I'll quickly go down the list of members. Deb Gesualdo,
Approve.
Donna Hopkins,
Yes.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar,
Yes.
David McKenna,
Yes.
Charles Desmond,
Yes.
Paul Pollack,
Yes.
Kristen Perkins,
Yes.
Amanda Sims,
Yes.
Bill Graham, and I'm yes. So we are in recess. So now we will convene the meeting of the Friends. I think the members will be Dr. Charlie, David McKenna, Paul Pollack, and myself. So we do have two budget items. The first one is the scholarship funds. Dr. Charlie, you want to take it away for the meeting of the Friends really quickly?
Yeah, I'd like to, are you asking for me to make a motion with regards to the scholarship recommendations, which I do, that the 4 students that have been recommended, I think should receive the scholarships? One for 1,000, one for 500, and 2 for 250. And I think the second vote, which concerns the matters that were discussed just now with regards to the materials, flags, and other items, also, I believe, are totally within the framework of what the Friends wants to advance, and I would move that we also fund those funds as well.
Thank you. And the total for those will be $208.33.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Motion by Charlie, second by David McKenna. I'll now proceed with the vote on that motion. Charlie Desmond.
Enthusiastically, yes.
David McKenna.
Ditto.
Paul Pollack.
Yes.
And I am yes. So the funds will be made available. David, did you say you go for the check or on all those? So you coordinate with Eileen to get her the check. Is that okay?
That would be on the freebies, not the scholarship, but all the freebie stuff. Yes.
Okay. So could you get the scholarship check at the same time, or do you want me to go get it?
So we have 4 checks that need to be issued, 1 to each student, and I can provide the names and the amounts of where they should go.
David, would you be able to get the check for the scholarships as well?
I'm not sure what you're asking me. I was going to donate the $208 and change for the materials we're going to buy, not the scholarships.
Oh.
Okay, do we need to vote the scholarships separately then?
No, I don't think that you're hearing him correctly. He's making a personal donation of $208 that would go to the Friends for the purposes of buying the materials that were discussed. So that is an additional philanthropic contribution for David in the amount of $208. Thank you very much, David. That's very generous of you to do that. So that's one item. The other item concerns the Friends issuing 4 checks for the students. And I think Dee can be authorized on behalf of the Friends to sign those checks, and we'll take care of that matter.
Okay, so I will get the check for the students. Eileen, you just communicate to me the names. I'll get the checks for the students. Perfect. Thank you very much, David.
Thanks, David.
I will need a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Friends.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by David, second by Charlie. I'll go down for a roll call vote. Charlie Desmond,
Yes.
David McKenna,
Yes.
Paul Pollack,
Yes.
and I'm yes. Okay, so right now we're gonna reconvene the meeting of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. And we will be moving on to item number 6 on the agenda, Juneteenth update. And I think Paul had asked earlier, the Juneteenth proclamation that we drafted has been sent to the select board for consideration. And I believe that we are put on the June 1st, on the agenda for June 1st, for them to consider that letter. And Paul, you were mentioning that there was some grammatical errors that we needed to correct. In which case we can just bring that maybe with us when we go on June 1st.
That's fine. The only 2 things I had were in the first 2 sentences. The first 2 sentences, I think we mentioned community. I don't know if you don't have it brought up, I don't want to delay the meeting, but just look at the proclamation, and I think we mentioned community twice where we only have to mention it once.
Okay, whereas the town of Danvers is a community that is working together to be more equitable, inclusive, and just. Community.
And drop community.
Okay.
Okay, and then continuing on, it says, and whereas the town of Danvers is made up, not are. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that one. It just rang a little different for me. And that's basically it.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to the writers and the grammatical.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's point well taken. We will have that with us when we are at the select board on June 1st. I'll encourage every member of this committee to attend if possible. I think it'd be important for us to be there when they take this into consideration.
What date is that, Dee?
I think it's June 1st, the first meeting in June.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think it's Ben from DCAT on.
There are about 4 or 5 different meetings going on tonight, so I think Ben might be, yeah.
Well, just a quick thing. I know Ben is working with a student at the high school. Actually, the student is actually working on a small Juneteenth presentation. And we were talking earlier about the schools and what they do. This student, you know, she was asked to pick a topic to work on as a project, and she decided to work on Juneteenth. So she's actually putting a short video together with DCAT that she wants to air sometimes around Juneteenth. And I just want to get an update on that, but Ben is probably busy with other meetings going on. And that's a great thing. I would also like us to have an event on Juneteenth, no matter how small it is. I think this year is probably too late to do a flag raising per se, but if we can gather either in front of town hall or at the library pavilion and just speak a little bit about the event and read hopefully the Juneteenth proclamation that will have been approved by the select board. I think this will be the beginning, even though small, of this yearly event that we can continue year in and year out. I don't know if anybody has any thought about that. I see you nodding, Deb.
I would love to do something no matter how small. I know a lot of communities north of Boston are doing various things, whether it's something small like the reading of a proclamation or simply just raising the flag and that's it. Some communities are doing something over Zoom. I'm taking part in whatever we do, plus a flag raising in Malden on Juneteenth, and whatever we do, I am 100% behind it, no matter how big or how small.
Thank you. Donna Hopkins.
I definitely want to do something. Don't get me wrong. I just wish, and I know the time is just so tight. I just wish we could do a little more. I really wish we could raise a flag, and I know there's some issues with the flag raising, and I think it even came up tonight at the select board meeting from what I heard from someone else. But I just my 2 cents. I just wish we could raise a flag too. I think their proclamation's great, or maybe even have something to hand out to people that come to listen to the proclamation. Almost if we can read it and invite people there, just something more than just, I don't know. I'd love something where we can maybe pull people together for that, even if it's short.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar.
Yeah, I think we should do something. What exactly, I don't know. Like Donna said, time is short, but if it's on a Saturday, I could definitely be there.
Thank you. David McKenna.
Yeah, I think whatever we can do, we should. And I will try to be there if at all possible. My schedules get crazy these days, but I'll see what I can do to be there.
Charles Desmond.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that the symbolic importance of participatory democracy, why it's important for us to recognize the rights of all citizens in our society are validated by this event. And so I suggest that we just all show up, as many people as we can to show up, and that will make the statement.
Thank you. Paul Polak.
Regardless of how large or small the event is, I think we should all show up, and I would definitely plan to be there.
Thank you. Kristen Perkins.
Yeah, I agree. Something in person would be ideal, even if it's small.
Thank you. Amanda Sims.
I echo what everybody else is saying. I think we need to do something. It should definitely be in person. And I think if we come together, it'll be meaningful, whatever we're able to do.
Bill Graham.
I agree with everyone.
Thank you. Eric Crane.
D, and I'm just a liaison. I don't really have a vote in this. I think it's wonderful if we do something. That's great, but yeah. So, and if you do it, I'll show up.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I mean, there seems to be a consensus that we will do something on June 19. I'm looking at it like something like we do for the July 4th. Again, the time is so short, but if we all show up, and we'll probably set up the time and communicate to everyone and come up with, what we really want to do. It's going to be a short program, but I think if we establish that as a yearly thing, that will give us 12 months to plan the next year event. Perfect. I will now move on to the 7th item of the agenda. Bob was unable to join us today, so I'll move on to the 8th item, which is a critical race theory curriculum. Kristen.
Yeah, So I wanted to bring this to this committee with all of the conversations happening in our country right now about critical race theory and whether or not it should be taught in public school curriculums. And so just to bring anyone up to speed, that's not, hasn't seen the conversations. So critical race theory is basically suggesting that systemic racism is a part of American society, especially through the laws and policies of our country. And so several states, including Texas, Georgia, Arkansas, South Dakota, Arizona, Tennessee, Idaho, Iowa, and Oklahoma, and probably others, are either banning or in discussions of banning the teaching of critical race theory. And so a lot of the leaders who are either banning it or bringing this up to be voted on are claiming that it's in an attempt to combat racism, and it's pushing to teach more traditional history in classrooms. It also claims it's introducing politics into education. And so anyways, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just kind of sharing what I've been reading. I think it's relevant to the work that we do here. I'm not coming to you all suggesting, we advocate for or against this or anything like that. But I do think it's worth this committee considering if we wanted to step back and work with Eric and the school committee to potentially review the curriculum that we do teach in Danvers through a lens of human rights and inclusion and all the values that we believe in this committee. And I did have an opportunity to connect with Eric, outside of this meeting beforehand. And it does seem like there may be an opportunity coming up with a subgroup of the school committee that is planning to look at the curriculum. So Eric, I don't know if you wanted to share anything there, but my intention is really just to offer for this committee if we wanted to explore that, so that we can make sure that we're teaching and we're challenging the students in Danvers to think beyond the textbooks as we may have learned them. The first time that I was kind of exposed to empathy in terms of history was when I read A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. And it was in high school history. I grew up in a small town in Maine that was all white. And it was the first time that I was able to put myself in the shoes of people that were different than me. And that was really important, and that changed my outlook on life. So anyways, I'll pause, and maybe Eric, if there's anything you want to add from a school committee perspective, please feel free.
If that's all right with you, Mr. Chairman, sure. No, you're muted, D.
If that's okay with you, Eric, that's okay with me, unless you want committee members to comment first.
No, I'll give some context that, first of all, the school committee does not select curriculum, approve curriculum. It's all done through Lisa Dana and her administrative staff, Mary Wormers, the assistant superintendent in particular. Having said that, we can certainly talk about curriculum, and we often do talk about it at meetings. And you're right, Kristen. One of the things, I was elected chair for this year at our first organizational meeting, and one of the subcommittees I'm going to set up is a curriculum subcommittee, which is broadly going to be based on looking at all curriculum, and really as a way of exchanging information between the administration, school committee, and parents, so that as we're talking about adopting new curriculum and whatnot, that information is out there. It's a way to really communicate. In terms, so it's not going to really be focused solely, or maybe even primarily on something like critical race theory. However, You also have a subcommittee of this committee that meets monthly with the superintendent and the assistant superintendents. And it seems to me that that is probably the best place to have that kind of discussion, because Mary Wormers and Lisa can lay out specifically how we deliver our curriculum in terms of teaching race in the classroom and in the social studies area. And so that's probably the best place to get information exchanged between the superintendent and this committee. You could even invite Mary and Lisa to attend one of our meetings in the evening, one of our regular meetings, and talk about it as well. So there's lots of ways to share information. I certainly think that we teach history in a factual way. I don't think we try and, pretend that racism isn't an issue. I certainly don't. I also don't think that we teach from the framework or context of critical race theory. And there are controversies about all sides, but I think definitely, my expectation is that we would teach factually based history, which includes the fact that racism has been a part of the American experience from before we were a country and continues to be part of the American experience. And we still feel the impact of racism today. And there's no way I think you can teach, social studies or history in the current environment without addressing that. So I'm fairly confident we don't teach that Washington chopped down the cherry tree and told his father he could not tell a lie. And I think we address the things that have happened in America, but I can't say that we do it from a particular lens or focus. And I've said at different points, the People's History of the United States for Howard Zinn is a somewhat controversial text. At the same time, there's something that came out a few years ago called The Patriots History of the United States, which is taught from the exact opposite perspective and really seeks to teach it from a more traditional look at all the great things America has done perspective. I think the right answer is something that comes at it from a factual perspective without trying to put a lens on it one way or the other, but teach the real facts and the context and what they mean today. That's just my opinion. But I think it'd be great to have either, Lisa or Mary attend one of our meetings, or have the education subcommittee of this group meet with, as part of their regular monthly meetings, talk about this. I leave it to you guys to decide what you prefer to do, but that would be my thought.
Thank you very much, Eric. And I think we definitely could do a combination of both. We meet regularly with the superintendent and Kit Werner and the curriculum director. So, and Dr. Dana have come to our meeting in the past to share some information. And I think that collaboration needs to continue to address some of these points. Let me see. Deb Gesualdo, any question or comment?
Definitely have comments. Obviously, as a public school educator, this topic is really, I think, important, and I think race theory is important, but I think also what's important is, to help our students in Danvers to be prepared to succeed in a diverse and interdependent world. We need to, we talk about teaching the whole child, and teaching the whole child entails, obviously teaching all the different subjects, attending to social emotional well-being, but it also entails working beyond just celebrating and talking about diversity. It entails actually, dealing with equity and inclusion. And we tend to always, in a lot of communities, hover on that topic of diversity. And so I think, one of the things I would love to see if this committee can somehow help the schools with, and this is a topic that a lot of districts struggle with, not on just on North Shore, not just in Danvers, across the country, is making sure that we're including culturally responsive, relevant, appropriate text, authors, perspectives into our students' daily education, not just in history and social studies and in civics, but across the curriculum. So that, and this tends to, be hard for people to understand, so that our curriculum isn't just from the perspective of white men, because that tends to be what it is across all subjects, whether it is social studies, music, art, or whatever you have. That tends to be the perspective. And so I think that we need to do what we can in any way to make sure that our students are set up to succeed in the diverse and interdependent world that they are going to go out and be in, so that they are accepting, understanding, inclusive, and set up to be human beings that are that way. And I think critical race theory is a part of it. And I think making sure that, it's not just Black History Month. It's not just, a month to celebrate this, a month to celebrate that. It's in the curriculum all year, and not just piecemeal here and there. And so I think that's one of my things that I would like to see if there's some way that we can help, because I know that it's something that school districts struggle with. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Deb. And I will say, I'll confess, I'm not very familiar with this specific curriculum, but I can say from all the meetings over the years with the schools and the superintendent, they've been very receptive and open. I'm not sure what is it that they do now, all the details. They might be doing part of this already, I don't know. But I think with keeping that collaboration and working with the school subcommittee and this group, they've been very open over the years to kind of work with us and get what we have, the ideas that we bring to the table. So that Donna Hopkins, I think I lost her.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Any question or comment?
No, but I know there is a curriculum person at the school who might be maybe a little better than Mary Warmers if we're going to ask for a meeting about this at some point. Amy?
Okay.
I can get Eileen the information. That's my only comment, I think.
Sure. Thank you. Jorge Sanchez Salazar?
No comment.
Thank you. David McKenna?
Not terribly familiar with the programs being discussed. I'll have to look into it further, but I think that we need to be aware of what the curriculum is and make sure that we're teaching what we should be.
Thank you. Charles Desmond? Dr. Charlie, you're muted.
Sorry about that. My dogs. This is Eric. I'm so appreciative of the words that you just spoke just now. They were just so informed, so erudite, so thoughtful. So thank you very much for sharing that, and for others who've also spoken. There's a reason for American exceptionality. There's a reason for it, and speaks to not living in a static history, but in a dynamic and evolving history. And so, we are a multicultural, one word, multicultural, another word, democracy. And the rest of the world watches and looks at what's happening in America and how we're dealing with something that has never happened in the history of civilization. No civilization in history has ever done what this country is trying to do, what we are trying to do as the American people. And it's important for us to not lose sight of that. So I just feel that this conversation about critical race theory, so, it's highly complicated. It's deeply evolved, very It's important for us to think about it and to talk about school environment. No, it's assessment of it.
Hey, Connie.
It's so many different.
Dr. Charlie, I think we're missing your audio there. I think we're having some connection issues with your audio. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, I can hear you.
I'm just simply saying that. Yeah, we're losing you.
Dr. Charlie, if you want to hold that thought, I will get back to you. I'm having some issues with your audio. I don't think we can hear you that well.
That's okay. I feel that we need to equip our students to be global ambassadors for humanity. To be them to.
Okay. I think we're having issues with Dr. Charlie's audio there. Paula, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Dee.
Okay, any question or comments?
No, I think we should move on. And the one thing I'd like to do is that maybe at our next subcommittee meeting with the administration, we can bring up this critical race theory just for a discussion point. Perfect. As Eric recommended, perhaps. I think it would be a healthy discussion. And let's see where it goes.
Thank you. Amanda Sims?
I am interested in being a part of the subcommittee, but I wanted to point out that the last meeting, I don't know if they're all held during like workday hours, but I just wondered if that's going to be consistent, because I would very much like to be a part of this conversation. Being a school adjustment counselor in a public school, this is also a very important issue to me, and I have some thoughts on that, but I think it would be appropriate for a separate conversation as well.
Thank you. Bill Graham? I think I'm having issues with Bill audios as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, I totally agree with you, Paul and Amanda. This is definitely something we will bring up with the school subcommittee when we meet the next time for discussions.
Yeah, and again, maybe if I may, Dee, maybe part of that is setting up, someone to come to an evening meeting and really talk about it. It's a worthy topic, and we're always happy to talk about what we teach and how we teach it. And one thing that's important, I think, to remember is that I wouldn't call critical race theory by itself a curriculum per se. I think it's a theory that can be taught within a curriculum. So it's not like you throw out everything, but we can find out how much schools really talk about that specific theory in
Exactly.
in the course of our curriculum. So
exactly. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kristen, for bringing that up. I think I lost Kristen as well. No, she's still there. Okay. I will now. So Eric, I'll stay on you. Any school committee update? That's point number 9 on the agenda.
Thanks, Dee. And some of what I say is probably going to overlap a little bit, but I have 3 items to talk about. One is at our next meeting, I believe that, well, let me put it this way, we'll present at our next meeting for consideration by the committee an anti-racism resolution that's based on a resolution that was passed by the MAS&C, Mass Association of School Committees, at their annual convention meeting. I'm going to be drafting, their resolution is written more broadly. I'm going to draft a resolution that basically just makes it locally focused and I'll present that at our next school committee meeting. I presume it'll be favorably received. You never can tell, but so that's one item. Item two is that along with the curriculum subcommittee, the other subcommittee that I am going to be setting up is what I'm loosely calling it an inclusion subcommittee. It's going to be very broadly based, with the idea that these two members on the subcommittee will meet with someone monthly. Now, it might be that they meet with a high school principal 1 month. The next month, it might be a middle school principal. It might be guidance counselors. It might be elementary principals as a group or individually. And to talk about what they are doing in terms of the atmosphere in their schools, how they're trying to foster inclusion, what challenges they see in trying to make that happen. And so it's again, they're not going to go at it with a specific agenda other than to learn and report back to us as to what's happening at the individual levels in each school. They would probably meet with the curriculum director 1 month. They could meet with guidance counselors. I expect that they will meet with the new student services director, because I want the inclusion to, we talk about inclusion a lot, but we forget that that includes, it's not just about race or ethnicity or religion. It's also about students who are differently abled, who are on IEPs, who need different sorts of supports, who may have emotional or mental health issues that we need to try and deal with and help. And I've been doing this 20 years now, and the biggest change I've seen is in that population, students who come to us with really severe anxiety or mental health issues, or increasingly we see students who are on the autism spectrum, that sort of challenge. So this inclusion subcommittee is going to be trying to look and gather information on all those items, hopefully come back with suggestions, let us know, what maybe better resources we need to provide. Maybe it'll impact how we approach our budget in terms of what we try and allocate for. So I think it will hopefully be a living subcommittee that can help us make improvements and find out what we're doing well at also. The final item, and that's something we're really excited about, we have had a DHS Advisory Program, which really was, and I'm going to start and get a little technical, but Charlie and other educators know about NESAC, the New England Education of Secondary School Association of Secondary Schools. And years ago, they did an audit of our programs and said, gee, you really should have an advisor program. And so we put one together, but it didn't really have that much life to it and didn't really become what people hoped. So under the direction of Alex Grover, who is one of our, he's our choral director at the high school. He has, as part of his professional development, taken on with others, with students and with other teachers and staff members, trying to revitalize the advisory program. And they are changing it entirely. It's now going to be called Community Meeting. There will be a block every day for students to come together in groups. It's sort of on either side of the lunch block. And the goals are meaningful relationship building between students, student leadership development, inclusion, acceptance, and understanding, and also citizenship, which includes recognizing, right in the sort of mission information, includes recognizing the diversity in the community. So I'm very excited about the possibilities of this in terms of bringing the student body together, getting students to know each other who might not otherwise come together. They'll be doing project-based learning. It seems, once it gets up and running and develops, it's going to be a great program, I think, and it will foster some of the things that this committee is very, very interested in. So that's my update. I'm happy to take any questions from anybody. You're on mute, Dee.
Thank you, Eric. I did watch the last school committee meeting, and that was fascinating to hear what that group is doing and working on. And I actually forget to say congratulations of being the chair of the school committee. I think you would do great things for our town.
Thank you.
And
I'll do my best. You know, it's a rotation, and you know, my number came up, so I'll do my best.
thank you.
Thank you.
So instead of going down the list of members, maybe you can just wave if you have any questions or comments on the school committee update. I see some shaking heads. I mean, Eric, it seems like you were very comprehensive. So thank you. Thank you very much. So I will now move on to, I think Pastor Voigt couldn't join us today. I'll move on to the, and Lieutenant Raab couldn't join. So I'll move on. I see David Mills. So I'll move on to the 12th item on the agenda, which is the select board update.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Eileen, this is not a criticism of you, but I've spent 15 minutes trying to get onto WebEx again. It really is not a very, very helpful platform. So maybe it's me, maybe everybody else. I'm talking on iPad. It would not bring back, would not go. iPad would, and I tried it 3 different ways. In any event, hi everyone. I just came from the select board meeting, and I'm sorry that I asked them to postpone the discussion tonight of that welcoming committee document, which was presented. I don't know if let me just say that the town manager about 3 months ago appointed a blue ribbon committee, including Donna Hopkins and our chair D, to be part of a committee of about 18 citizens to discuss ways in which the town could be more welcoming and inclusive and be respectful of all people. And that committee met many times, and they produced a written document, which I think is politically very carefully drafted, and whoever drafted did a great job. I think probably the town manager had a lot to do with it. And so we were discussing it tonight, and I asked them to postpone it to the next meeting so that members of this committee who wanted to come and hear that conversation could be part of it. And both the chair and the town manager said that they declined my request very politely with very good reasoning, saying that tonight was just going to be a discussion. There was going to be no voting. It wasn't a public hearing. My point is, however, that in that report, and the reason why the committee was even established had very much to do with the work of our Human Rights and Inclusion Committee, and that it was really important that, you know, this HRIC be able to plug in to any discussion about that. Well, in any event, we had a discussion. The report contains, I don't know, 18 specific bullet points of potentially recommended actions. The town manager had asked if the members of the Board of Selectmen would pick and choose among those 18 items as to which should be given priority. And I was unable to do that because the points are all very good. But my own frustration is that the whole work of the committee and the committee report did not address what was really important, which is the terror that many Danvers students, Danvers residents, especially Black, Asian, and lesbian and gay people, the fear that they have and the fear that they have of the police. And this all came about as a consequence of the insurrection that took place on the lawn of the town hall on September 6th in this blue line flag thing, when the president of the police union went railing off with this horrendous, vicious attack on the selectmen and the town for having thrown the police under the bus. It was it was, in my experience, it was very, very unsettling. And the more I reflect, it was a product of the Trumpism of the nation and the hysteria and fear that was incited among other people in any event. So there was a discussion of that tonight. I said that I really wanted the HRIC to be able to be present, any members who did. And so there was a discussion. I think that, I mean, everybody's got so much to do. I think it would be really, really helpful if the members of this commission could read that report. And if we could then discuss it, I almost think it would be good to have a special meeting in 2 weeks to discuss that thing, to determine what, if anything, this committee should do or say in response to that publication. So I don't know. I'm very, very frustrated because I don't believe that that committee or the report focused in on what is real, which is the tension between police and citizens, which shouldn't be in Danvers because we don't there's no reason for it, but it's there. And people are afraid. And as some of you may know, one of the people who was running for selectman, who lost for selectman, has a blue line flag on the flagpole in front of his house and a blue line flag in the front.
David?
Yes?
David, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think we just need to kind of stick to the liaison update.
Forgive me. There was a discussion tonight before the selectmen.
Thank you.
I don't know that there's anything. I informed the board of this committee's work toward a flag pride raising in June, and our hope to connect with Richard Trapp to develop a June program. Kind of, I think the Danvers Historic Society would love to join with this committee to do that. But I told them that we were working on that, and that's about all I have to report. Sorry that I went off chat, Eileen. I'm sorry to put you in the position of having to correct me. Right?
Thank you, David. Thank you. The report that David refers to is actually available on the town website. It's important that if anyone has a chance to look at it, please do so. I can't speak for the whole committee. I was a member, and I think Donna were members of that welcoming community group. I think everyone should have a chance to look at the report. The consensus that we had was, how do we look forward though? I mean, there were some really vile things that had happened, but we came to the consensus of what is the way forward. As Dr. Charlie liked to say, America's exceptionalism is not because we are perfect, but because we strive to perception. How do we make it better? How do we work every day to improve? That is the exceptionalism of America. I can just have a show of hand if any member has a question or comment. I don't see any. Okay.
I'd like to say
so.
D, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, I'd like to address a couple of things regarding what David had just said, and I concur with him, quite frankly. I think there's more underlying issues that have to continually be addressed. And I read the report. I did have a copy of the report, and I read the report from one end to the other. And I really appreciate that. I can't imagine some of the stress you might have gone through, whether you want to admit it or not, trying to deal with that larger committee and trying to move forward. That being said, as I read the report and read through it, I felt at some point we were missing the point. And I think that there's more work to be done. The report talks at some point at great length about how we have to appreciate first responders, whether they be police, fire, EMTs, etc. There's no question about that. But that committee, your group, you were involved, you and Donna, you put a lot of time and effort into it. I'm not so sure that that was formed just to certainly not worry about how we respect, because we do respect those first responders. It was put together as an aftermath of what really happened and what David alluded to at town hall that day. Anybody that doesn't see that is got their head in the sand somewhere, and he's absolutely right. And so I just want to I congratulate him for coming back and giving us that report, and I appreciate the work that he does on the committee, and I also appreciate the work that you and Donna did on it. But we have a lot of work to do in this town. I'm going to tell you all right now, I'm going on a little bit of a rant, okay? So bear with me. I got on this committee about 14, 15 years ago because my big fear is something like this that did happen on that blue line issue was going to happen. It could happen in any town, in any community in this country. And we have to be prepared for it and proactive, not reactive. So I guess we really have to get together and really try to solve this thing because it's right out there and it's not settled yet. It's not settled yet. And the nice things that were said in the report are we have to do those things. But the fact of the matter is we have issues in this town. There's an old saying, the grass is green and the sky is blue in Danvers. Well, it's true everywhere, but we have issues to take care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I see Deb has her hand up.
And then after Deb, Donna also had a hand up as well.
Thank you, Dee. I mean, I appreciate the work, that people like Donna and others who were on that working group did. I think one of the things I was disappointed in and is that I guess I kind of expected to see in the final report something like what some other communities have done, maybe declaring racism as a public health crisis or something like that, and then figuring out how to move forward from there. I guess I expected to see more of things like that addressed. And I saw a lot of what was just mentioned about, the need for respecting first responders. And I feel, there is a tremendous amount of respect for our first responders. They do a job that I could not imagine doing and not called to do in my life. And they do a lot of things in their job that's, far outside of their job description, as do a lot of public sector. And I think I expected to see the root cause of what's been bubbling up in our community as well as many others to be addressed a little more head on in the report. And I guess that's sort of where I felt a little deflated when I read it. And that's certainly no fault of anyone who is on this committee who served as part of the working group, because I think everyone, understands and sees that. But that's sort of what I was expecting to see when I read it and didn't.
I'm sorry, Donna.
Okay, everyone can hear. Yeah, Deb, I actually felt very similar to how you did. And I was getting very frustrated as the group went on. It was very difficult to want to make points that were, I'm trying to think of the right word, that weren't polite. I don't know. It ended up being, how are we going to appease both of these groups? And I don't really know that you can do that with certain topics, like racism, because to me there aren't two sides. There's racism and there's people that are trying to work to remove it from our society. But that being said, we were led in a very specific direction each week. We were very limited as to what we could say. I got cut off more than once trying to make comments because I think I was overstepping boundaries. But that being said, I still think that's why our committee is so important. And I think what needs to come out of this, especially if we can hire a person to do that for the town, to work on race relations and to work on equality and to work on diversification and a lot of the other things that we keep talking about, I'd like to see our committee take a stronger position in the town. Even as many terrific things as we're doing in the newsletter that Eileen is helping us put together and all that stuff, it is so difficult to navigate the website and find that stuff. So to let the public know what we're doing and to see how we can get people involved, it's very difficult to do. I'm going off on a tangent now. What I wanted to say, and Eileen, you might know about this, I think you can access the report on the town website, can't you? If you can get through the convoluted website.
You can. It actually is right on the select board page. I think I had emailed it out to the group after our last meeting, but I will send it again tomorrow morning. I'll send it as the PDF and then a link to it as well, if you want to share it around.
Yeah, because just if people haven't read it, I think it's important to read it. To me, it was, oh God, I don't want to, I won't say anything more on this meeting, but I'm happy to talk to anyone individually.
Thank you, Donna. I mean, and I would say the report, that was just a report. Although it was a very important piece of work, that was just a report. I think our call is the implementations of those recommendations and what we do about it. There's definitely this acknowledgement that we do have issues, like Paul said. That is why the committee was formed in the first place. And now that we have this piece of work, I believe it's just a starting point. This is not the end game at all. And it is going to be all of us, not only in this town, but especially in this committee, we have a lot of work to do to not only implement things from that report, but even go beyond it. And we've started some of that work and we're just going to continue. I think we need to look at that report as a starting point of conversation of many, many things that we have to address, many, many things that we have to do. And the hiring of someone from town hall, they say, you got to put your money where your mouth is. So hiring someone that is going to handle diversity and inclusion right from town hall at a higher level will also be very helpful to help us navigate some of these issues. So, you know, I totally agree with you, Paul, David, Deb. This is definitely not the end game. I totally believe that. And I'm sure most members of that committee believe the same thing. It was, how do we come to a consensus of something as a starting point, recognizing that we do have issues, and then going forward, using all the stakeholders to start to make some change for the Danvers tomorrow. What do we want our town to be like tomorrow? And it's incumbent upon all of us to continue to work, not only from the product of that report, but all the other things that we're doing every month. Anybody else hands is up? Yes, Kristen.
Just one final thought is, you know, the website and the report that was put together. I feel like hopefully the select board will action some of these recommendations, because I feel like the people that will go to our website, that will engage in our events, that will have conversations with us, are the people who already think like us. What we need is to bridge that. And I think that's what I was hearing of. It sounds like there's maybe two sides or multiple sides, and we need someone like that DEI director and these other recommendations to help bring everyone together, because if we don't invest in that, we're not going to pull in the people who think differently than this group might. So just
Thank you very much. I'll then move on the last item on the agenda, which is number 13. Any new business?
Dee, I actually just have a couple items briefly.
And can you also let me know if we got any comments or questions from viewers?
I have not. No, the phone did ring once, but when I answered it, nobody was there. So I'm thinking either they hung up, or if somebody is watching and was trying to reach us and had trouble, please let me know, or you can always email me. It's epage@danversma.gov. If you, I'll be monitoring my email for the next couple minutes if they didn't get through. But just a couple of things. I mentioned the donation that we received anonymously. We did not have to actually accept publicly. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little feedback, so I'm just going to mute a couple people here. There we go. We don't have to formally accept it. I just will need somebody, I don't know if it needs to be one of the friends or if Dee can do it, but somebody will need to pick up the check to deposit it. So I have it at my office. I'm in the office until noon tomorrow if someone wants to stop by, or 4 o'clock most other days. So I can either mail it to somebody or just let me know. Someone should come pick it up. And then the other item, I know we talked about it briefly before we started, as we were chit-chatting at the beginning, but I just thought we should all congratulate Dr. Charlie on being named one of the top 50 most influential people of color in higher education. So kudos to Dr. Charlie. I think he's frozen. I don't know if he can see or hear us, but that's a huge honor, and we're very proud of you, Dr. Charlie. I think he's frozen. But anyways,
thank you. In addition to my worries and I earned. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the last time, this is something that Paul had brought up to us via email, but ahead of the meeting, as we know, the governor has lifted some restrictions effective the 29th regarding masks. Town hall will be open to the public without appointment effective June 1st. So things are opening up again, and kind of what that means for us meeting in person. I can't necessarily say yet. The goal is obviously for all of us to meet in person. DCAT is working very hard to rig up a couple more meeting rooms with cameras, because one of the things about these remote meetings is, even though it has been a little bit of a pain in the butt for us in terms of technological issues, it's made it much more accessible to people at home, and our participation, in terms of the emails we're getting and things like that, has gone way up for this committee. So I'm not at all proposing we stay virtual forever, don't worry, but looking to try to take advantage of televising our meetings as often as possible is definitely something we will want to keep in mind as we go forward. As far as when we can meet in person again, we are expecting some guidance in the next week or so. So hopefully, I can definitely say I will have an answer for you by our June meeting. I just don't know if our June meeting will be in person or virtual at that point, but I will keep everybody updated. And the other thing, that I think we could consider as well, is maybe if we want to try an outdoor meeting, that might be possible in the summertime. If we're not able to get, a televised meeting room, that's obviously the first and foremost goal, is the televised meeting room. So we can, we don't lose that participation and ability for everybody to access it. I've been here about 1.5 years, and I've only been to one committee meeting in person. So to give you an idea of when everything is shut down. So I will keep you updated. I'll be talking to Dee. I think the Department of Public Health and Steve will be kind of giving us some more guidance as they get it from the state. So I promise it's on our radar. We'll keep you updated.
Thank you, Eileen. Any other new business? Perfect. Hearing none. So before we adjourn, we were talking earlier about the pride flag that's gonna be raised in the next couple weeks, and I was looking, and it seems like May 20th, which is today, May 20th, 1996, the Supreme Court defends the right of gay and lesbians in Roma versus Evans in a landmark victory for the gay and lesbian civil rights movement. The U.S. Supreme Court voted 6-3, I believe, to strike down an amendment for the Colorado's state constitution that would have prevented any city, town, or county in the state from taking any legislative, executive, or judicial action to protect the rights of gays and lesbians. So we have come a long way from 1996, just to take that example, but we still have a lot of work to do. So let's keep up the work because we still have a lot to do. On that, I will need a motion to adjourn. And
Move to adjourn.
Paul motion to adjourn, second by Donna. I will go down the list of members. Deb Gesualdo,
Yes.
Donna Hopkins,
Yes.
Jorge Sanchez Salazar,
Yes.
David McKenna,
I think we should stay here all night. Yes.
Charles Desmond,
I think Dr. Charlie's having audio and video difficulties.
Paul Pollack,
Very definitely.
Kristen Perkins,
Yes.
Amanda Sims,
Yes.
Bill Graham.
I think we lost Bill.
And I'm yes. Thank you all, and good night, Danvers, and see you next time. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.